The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Hello and welcome into episode 17 of Mossy Creek Conversations. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, and we are delighted to welcome in a two-time All-SAC corner and the owner of Sweet Feet Sports Performance, a defensive backs training company. That is a man known as O.D. Oliver Davis. O.D., thanks so much for taking some time out of what is a jet-setting schedule for you here of late, and joining us here on the podcast. You're active on Twitter, active on Instagram. I swear I think you've been to 5 states in the run-up to us recording this. So greatly appreciate you taking some time out of your training schedule and reminiscing on your times at the banks of Mossy Creek.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for having me.
Let's focus on your playing days. Took a circuitous route to get to Carson Newman. Started at Georgia Southern, and then redshirted in 2009 as a member of a Final Four team that lost to Grand Valley State. What brought you from one Eagle to another?
Man, just the genuine at-home vibe that Mike Clowney, which is the head coach now, he was the defensive coordinator at the time. He recruited me, hard since I was in high school. Never really wavered, man. Even he knew that, it was a chance I wouldn't go to high school, but he never stopped recruiting me. Even when I was, off at school, at another school, he was still, just checking, making sure everything was going smoothly. So when it came to time to try to find a new home, Carson Newman was the number one place that I felt that would fit me, just because the genuine, coaching staff and the way they recruited me from day one.
That Ken Sparks was the head coach then. What was the reaction when he retires, Mike Turner takes over, and now Mike Clowney is in charge of the ship?
It's not really shocking, because we, at Carson Newman, everything is ran one way. So them kind of passing the torch to each other, it's kind of cool to see, because, Sparks being the ultimate leader, and then Turner always being his right man and it, and Clowney always being that guy that could step in if needed. And now, it's his turn. It's pretty cool to see that, they kept everything in-house. They didn't really go outside to find, another coach. They kept everything, within the same staff. So that was good to see.
You sit on the bench in 2009 in redshirt. What was that like, watching that team succeed at a high level, and how did you internalize that for what ended up being a multi-year All-SAC career for yourself?
It was challenging at first, being young and thinking you're going to play, and then, some eligibility things with transferring, kind of held me back. Mm-hmm. But, I took a mature route. Maybe for a day or two, I had my head down. But I told myself, I was like, at least I'm here. Everything else is going to be fine. I just got to do my, my due diligence. So what I did was that whole, I took it upon myself to really hone in on my practice habits. Any way I could help the team, in practice, I would do that. I was on scout team offense and play run back, play receiver, whatever the team that we were preparing for, their main guy. I would get on offense and pride myself on going as hard as I could to prepare the defense, for that week. So I tried to make myself, useful as possible during the time that I had to sit out. So took a pretty mature route to be so young, but, seeing them have that list, it was pretty cool. Man, it made the practices feel like actually, worth it.
How did you attain that level of maturity at such a young age?
To be honest, I've loved the game dearly since I could remember. So I just, studying the greats that gave me the tools to understand how to handle a situation like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when you watch a great, no matter if it's practice, no matter if it's the off season, no matter if it's the game, they're always locked in. They're always trying to find a way to get better. So that was my way of helping not only myself get better, but the Carson Newman team get better by, giving it my all in practice. Because you never know. Another guy that's sitting out may see me and be like, if he's going hard and I know he's not playing on Saturday, what am I doing here not going hard? So I try to just kind of take that route, really got from studying other guys that been there, done that.
When you do hit the field in 2010, pretty explosive. Opened the year that year with Bentley. Only 2 tackles. You do have a pick against Bentley, but something that still holds up in the record books today, 4 pass breakups. Tied for the 4th most in a single game all time in Carson Newman history. How rewarding was it to make that sort of immediate impact on the field after sitting out?
I mean, it was kind of like that relief, like, you know how you feel that not necessarily pressure, but it's like, man, I've been waiting for this for so long. And Coach Sparkle, I remember in practice, he was coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you know, you're a great practice player. I want to see, you know, I see how it is when, you know, when the lights are on and when it's really time to go." Because I mean, you know, just forcing some guys for whatever reason are just really good in practice, but sometimes a game, or maybe they know it counts, you know. But it was a great feeling because I've been anticipating it for so long, and then actually getting some action. You know, we played a team that did a lot of passing that week, so, you know, it was just a great feeling for me.
What's your top memory, either game or practice situations, just around the team from your time at Mossy Creek?
Top memory, I probably have to say that season, 2010 versus Tusculum. I want to say we beat them 49-48,
I believe.
49-48. It was a crazy game. I mean, up and down, roller coaster game. I ended up having 2 interceptions in that game. But the craziest part, even aside of interceptions, it was just the way the game ended. Like, I don't know if you remember, but they kicked the field goal and they run out on the field thinking that they won the game, and they hit the goal post and came out, and then you just see the emotion go from them to us. And it also was, so that was one of my memories. Really thought he was going to make the kick because I was actually in that play wrong to block it. And as the kick goes up, it just started tailing off to the side, and you hear it hit the pole and come back, and they go from celebrating, and we go. It was one of my craziest memories as an Eagle, for sure.
Definitely something a little more unique. I mean, you're part of 2 deep playoff runs, but just how much of that is based on the emotion of the rivalry with Tusculum?
A lot, because, you know, Tusculum was a school, you know, they didn't care. They're going to put all the bulletin boards there and say, you know, the different team. They all had explosive offenses. And that year, I want to say if he didn't win the Heisman, he might have been like, was Bo something. Yeah. I forget his name. All-American quarterback they had that year.
Bo Cordell.
That was supposed to be the year that they beat us because he, you know, was the guy. They were putting up crazy number offense. It was a highly anticipated game, and it was, you know, it was a little chippy at the beginning too. So, you know, pulling up, man, that was riding back to Mossy Creek.
You look at 2011. That was a year where everybody on the team, it seemed like, got injured, especially offensively.
Yeah.
I mean, Doug Belk, who started as a wide receiver, he transitions to quarterback and obviously doing great things now
right.
in the coaching ranks. But guys that weren't expected to make contributions in roles had to make contributions, and you weathered through a losing season. What was the mood like off-season 2011 to 2012, looking to get things back to the standard that Carson Newman football has been accustomed to over the last 40 years?
Which was a lot different because before then, and all was winning. So, you know, having a down year, because, you know, Coach Sparks, he's used to always winning the SAC, always, you know, having that playoff bid. So having to, you know, basically deal with adversity of having a losing season at Carson, which was rare, what a type of attitude. And I feel like that kind of showed with 2012 season, almost, you know, making it to the national championship. So definitely a different feel, but I feel like, you know, with leaders like Brandon Baker, Brendan Haywood, you know, we had the leadership to get around, and I feel like we did a really good.
It's
Everybody would just go ahead.
It's unbelievable to me that year in 2012. You start off with the emotions of Ken Sparks' 300th win. You have a week off and then absolutely pummel the defending SAC champs in Lenore Rhine, and then lose on national TV to Wingate. Bit of a hangover game the week after that to Newberry, and then find your footing and steamroll the rest of the way into the playoffs. What was it after those first 4 weeks, some emotional highs, some really low lows, that enabled the team to kind of find its footing and roll?
I feel like we were right there. We knew we had the team. And that year I missed 3 games. So I didn't even – my first game that season was against Wingate that Thursday night. So I remember it just being – I felt like we were pressing. I felt like we were – and I'm like, bro, we got the team. We know we got the talent. We need to just start taking it slower and looking week by week and looking far ahead and looking at everything else. So we just started taking it 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time. And I just noticed we'll win. And I think we won from week, what was that, 4, Wingate?
Yeah.
So after that week, we didn't lose again until we lost to Rhode Island State in the playoffs. So I feel like we just kind of honed in and started really just taking it 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time versus looking at the season as a whole. You know what I mean? And that kind of showed.
Was there a moment that year where you felt that things were beginning to gel, beginning to click in a way that felt special, similar to the way that 2009 felt special?
Definitely. I definitely did. I just could feel the offense clicking, the defense clicking. Everything was kind of going the way it was going. We were dominating and overcoming adversity within games, talking amongst each other. That season, the coaches actually started letting us have our own pregame. Like normally, Coach Sparks would have a special guest, or Clowney would do it a lot. He would normally be the guy to do the talking. I remember that year vividly. Like they were like, listen, we want y'all to take control of this team. We're going to say our 2 cents, but we really want the message to come from within the team. So they would leave like before every game, pregame, Coach Sparks would say a little something. We'll pray. He'll leave the room and we'll just have the floor, just, peers. So I feel like that was a big step for the coaching staff to kind of put it on us to, get things going. And I feel like we did a really good job of that.
You were one of a handful of – it wasn't a very senior-laden team, especially defensively. What did that mean to you to be given the keys to motivate people in that situation?
I always embraced it. Coach Sparks told me during my playing career at Carson Newman, he was like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never really truly seen a guy quite like you, like the way your peers respond to you. Because he's like, most of the time, whatever position group you are, if you're a leader in that group, they'll respond to you. But he said it's not just the DBs, it's the linebackers, it's the offensive guys. Like, he's like, your energy that you bring is so assertive that, everybody responds to you no matter what side of the ball they play on. And at the time, of course, I'm 20, 21. I don't even know what he's talking about, really. But now, now full circle, now that seeing what I do for a living, he saw this before I even saw this. So that lets you know how special Ken Sparks was. Like, if he was here today, he wouldn't be surprised because he would be like, I kind of saw it myself before I even saw it. So I always embraced it because I knew it was a big responsibility to be able to come out there and perform at a certain level every single day, because if football is a grind, it's tough. Some days you're not going to feel as great as others, but if you're the leader, you set the standard. So whatever you put out is what, the younger guys are going to follow. So I embraced it. I always was hard on myself. So I love the fact that, I was voted on a role to be, somewhat of a leader on the team. So I definitely embraced it.
How much do you take from what Ken taught into what you do day to day now, both on and off the field?
A lot. I mean, that's how, if you watch my Instagram and you see the 1% post, that actually came from a saying or a slogan, whatever you want to call it, that we made up on our retreat. You know, the leaders, the captains of the team every year, Coach Sparks took them on a retreat. We used to go to a Navy SEAL base in Virginia. I don't know if they still do it, but basically on that retreat, we were on the in the van where we were in on the way there. And Coach Sparks told us to come up with a slogan or a saying for the season that we were going to go by. And we all kind of put our brains together and we came up with 4D, meaning daily discipline determines your destiny. And I literally live by that. Like, I literally, still to this day, sometimes you'll even see me put it on my page, like 4D. It's just something that it makes so much sense. Like, the work that you put in on a daily basis, eventually it's going to show. Or eventually you're going to get an opportunity to show, you know, that you've been prepared for whatever the case may be. So I live that way, one day at a time. And that's how I come up with the 1%. Because I always tell guys, like, when I first started this, I used to train kids that maybe they didn't have the offers that they wanted or the looks or recruitment that they wanted. And I used to always stop them in the workouts like, bro, if we can just focus on today and dominating today, 6 months to a year from now, you'll have the offers you want, or you'll have the attention or the accolades that you want. We just got to we got to really hone it down and really lock into each day. So that's how I come up with get 1% better every day. We don't have to get 1,000% better every day. We just need to get a little bit better than we were yesterday. And then the next day we need to get a little bit better than we were that day. So that's how I come up with the 1%, man. And this kind of went crazy. Like, I didn't think it would go as viral as it did, but
it's crazy to hear that it's based on. I mean, I've cataloged the 4D by any means, the team slogan since I've been here, and it's crazy to hear 4D brought up again, and that it defines a significant chunk of what you do day to day. Can you offer some level of gratitude? What that feels like to throw it back to something that you did and experienced literally 9 years ago, 10 years ago?
I mean, to me, I'm just thankful to have been in that situation and been able to be around those type of people to even get it registered in my head, to take it with me. Because, you know, in life, sometimes we hear a lot of we hear a lot of messages. They come and they go, but that's one of the things that it just stuck with me because it made so much sense. Like, you know, whatever I put out each and every day is what my future is going to look like. And that's all I needed. I mean, for me, that's all I needed. And so no matter if it was, you know, football or corporate America, I could apply that anywhere. So, you know, I definitely live by it. And, you know, that's pretty much the standard now with my business. So, you know, the kids, they already know. I don't even have to go into detail. They know each and every day it counts. Every day counts. It's not one day that we're like, this day doesn't count. Every single time we're out there and the cleats are on, you know, that's an opportunity to get better. And one thing we all know we can't get back is time. So we got to make each and every day count for sure.
Take me through the process of how you started this, because out of college, you worked Coke, Pepsi a little bit, if I'm remembering correctly?
So out of college, I ended up, you know, trying out for a bunch of teams, and I ended up getting a contract to go play in the AFL. I went there, you know, got injured, bounced back from the injury, signed with another AFL team, injured again. So it was just an injury bug at the time. That, you know, it was probably fluke, but you know how it is. Yeah. Versus one player away from being injured. So I end up, after 2 seasons of doing the AFL thing, I end up saying, you know what, I had a daughter and I was, you know, married. I was either married or about to get married. I think I was engaged at the time. And I said, you know what, man, I need to start working. I need to kind of put the football thing on the back burner because I felt like I was being a little selfish, just honestly. And, you know, my dad's been working for Coke for years. So, you know, he got me on with Coca-Cola and I started working there, and I worked there for about 2 years. And I did good there. I at one point I had put out more because, you know, I was a merchandiser at first, and I moved up to being an account manager. The route I was on was doing more Coke products at a certain Walmart because I had different stores. I had a Walmart, I had a Publix, I had a Kroger. At my certain Walmart, I was doing more sales than any other Walmart in the state of Georgia. So same principles, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it had nothing to do with football. It was just, you know, standardized hard labor. And I just applied the same exact thing. And I ended up getting a promotion, worked for Pepsi for a while, and then I moved over into the corporate side, and I was basically a broker for transportation. So I was a sales rep for a transportation company for about a year and a half, and I won a bunch of awards in that same kind of deal. And I ran into Aaron Hutzel, and he was still, at coaching at the time at Carson Newman. That was my DB coach when I played there. And Atlanta, he had hit me up, and we'll go to dinner or whatever, and we'll just get to talking football. You know how that is. And he told me, my dad would always be on me about it too, but Coach Hutzel really told me, like, the last time that I ever saw him, we just got done talking ball, and he was like, listen, man, you know too much about the game, and I'm noticing that the kids that I'm recruiting, they're lost, and they don't know really much about the defensive back position. He was like, man, you've got to find a way to give back, help these kids, because you know so much, you can help so many people. And my dad used to give me the same messages. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I was kind of scared because I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. Like, that's not something I ever wanted to do. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to post it online. I'm going to just see where it goes. And I had a cousin at the time that was playing at Westlake High School out here in Atlanta. And he's the only person I had to train because obviously I had no clients. I was just starting. And, I was training him, and I told my wife, I said, man, we're going over some good stuff out here every day. Maybe you come out here and just record maybe 5 minutes of the workout. and that's how it started. She would record me and my cousin working out. I'd upload some of it, just bits and pieces of the workout. And boom, it just took off. The first person that ever hit me up was Kendall Vildor. And he was like, bro, I want to work out with you. I love your approach. I can tell you know the game. And I said, cool. So pretty much that was the first true client that I had. And he's second year in the NFL right now. So I had him when he was at Georgia Southern at the time. And after our first offseason, we worked out. He was an All-American. He was player of the year of his conference. And from there, it just trickled down. You know how it is, man. Like, once one guy sees you working, he has 7, 8 other friends at different schools, and then the next guy and the next guy. So it was really a snowball effect. It's really a blessing, man, because I never really had to go out there and really searching for people. They just kind of came. The right people just kind of came into my life. So I just made sure I showed them that gratitude, and that I was thankful that, they were willing to, come out here with me and, help them get better. So I took it to heart. So every day you see me out there, I got cleats on, I'm running around, I'm still competing. So, I mean, it's really, for me, it's really a dream come true because, to be honest, all I ever loved and wanted to do was just be around football and just be, around the game. And, that's what my life is now. And it's just a blessing. So I never take it for granted. It don't matter if it's a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, an NFL guy, I'm going as hard as I can with them and giving them everything I got every time. So
how are your knees and your feet holding up at
So I mean, to be honest, man, I really feel great. It sounds crazy. I'm still the same weight I was when I was at Carson Newman 10 years ago, same playing weight. I'm still moving around fast. I still feel good. I know that cliff's coming somewhere. I don't know when it's coming, but today I can tell you, I can strap it up today and play for Carson Newman if y'all need it.
We'll find you an extra year of eligibility, OD. Go back. You talked about your wife recording you. What was when I think of Carson Newman? One of the first things I think about is family. What was her reaction when you asked her, "Hey, I need you to shoot this workout that I'm going to do with my cousin"?
I mean, we kind of grew up together. I've met her in the 8th grade. That's kind of when we started dating. And she knew what kind of person I was. So for her, it was just cool. She didn't really see the vision that I saw, but she was like, okay, just teach me what to look for when I'm filming, kind of what angles you want. And I kind of just each and every day would just coach her up. We'd look at the film after the workout and I'd be like, see right here or see right there. And, just kind of give her pointers, but she was really supportive. She never really was like, oh, it's too hot out there. Or, she never really gave excuses because she said, since I've known you, when you put your mind to something, it always comes about. So she was like, I'm just going to get behind you and whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do it. And, 3 years later, we're working with first rounders and all pro guys. And it hasn't been 1 year that I've done this training thing and not had all Americans out of it and different things like that. So definitely thankful for her, man, because she could have easily been like, it's too hot, and I would have had to accept it because she's a woman, I can't expect her to be out in the heat with me, but she was all for it. And, I definitely thankful for her, man.
How much, you're doing well in corporate America. How much of a leap was it to pursue what you're passionate about?
Obviously it was scary because you don't really know the outcome until you're in it, in this type of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, I know this amount of clients is going to be here on this amount of, you got to really kind of just say, you know what? I love this. I know what I'm doing. And I'm just going to get out there and just see if people feel the same way I feel. And, that's kind of how it went, man. So definitely blessed.
How quick can you ascertain if somebody at the position has it?
One workout. I can tell you that the first workout that I worked out, Kendall Vildor, I told him he was going to the NFL. And I think he kind of was looking at me like, what? Like, because at the time, he's a sophomore at Georgia Southern, just earning a starting job. So he's like, bro, I'm just now getting on the field. Like, what do you mean? And I'm just telling him, I'm like, it's your focus, it's your ability, it's the drive. Like, I see it all in a player. And I think that's really my gift. Like, I was a good player, but I think my gift is the eye. Mm-hmm. Like, I can study film and know what's coming. I can study film and kind of dictate what a guy likes to do, what he's good at, what he's not so good at, and definitely training. Like, I study the position so much, I can tell by a guy's bend, by his flexibility, by his change of direction, by his ball skills. In one workout, I can tell you, like, this kid either has NFL potential or not. So yeah. I feel like it's not that hard to see for me.
What's the commonality between all of them? What's the one thing that the elite of the elite share at the position?
Attention to detail. Very detailed. Like, every drill they take, very, like, eyes in the right place, pads low, different things like that. Footwork underneath them, feet underneath them, not too much slipping, clean play. That's what I feel like the ones that are at the highest level, all have in common. They all are very attention to detail, for sure.
So if you're given the hot garbage clay that is Adam Cavalier as a football player, how good could you make me if I was willing to commit? And keep in mind, my athleticism, OD, the 40 times probably in the 7-second range.
I may not make you an All-American, but I for sure will make you a student of the game. Like, you will fully understand the game of football from either side of the ball, for sure. I feel like that's very valuable, because you could turn into the next great coach.
What a great sales pitch, Hey, what a great sales pitch.
I hear it all the time. At my workouts, the parents that consistently come, they say, hey, man, I've never played this position. I've never done it, but just coming here X amount of months or X amount of years and hearing you coach and, like, seeing how you break down the game, they tell me all the time, I feel like I could be a DB coach. So that right there makes me feel good, because if the parents that aren't even actually physically doing any work feel that way, that means I know for sure I'm explaining everything to a T to the actual kid that's, in competition.
The one undercurrent through a lot of these podcasts that we've done goes back to, Carson Newman's innate ability to produce people that know how to educate others. And not just, this goes back decades to people that we've talked to from the who were here in the 60s and 70s. What can you draw back to Carson Newman that has enabled you to fall into that as somebody who's able to educate others on whatever it may be?
I feel like at Carson Newman, it's football, because you're going to win. everybody's going to be gunning for you. You're a top dog. But when you scale back the football part, Coach Sparks really taught the guys when I was there how to really understand different people from different places of the world. You know, it's going to be people from the North. It's going to be people from the South. It's going to be people from, you know, middle class. It's going to be people from maybe a poorer situation. He taught me how to really open up and dissect and really just view a person for who they are and understand where they're coming from. And I feel like that patience taught me how to be a better coach, because some kids need to be coached a little harder. Some kids, you know, everybody has their deficiencies, and you coach off of that. And it just taught me patience and really how to understand a person as a leader. And, you know, Coach Sparks, when you get in those leadership roles, there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of different, and, you know, it rubs off on you. You start maturing as a young adult early, I feel like, in that program. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the leadership, the way they go about the leadership roles and at the school, you know, and with everything else together. Carson Newman wasn't just a school you're gonna get to do anything you want. Like, it's pretty detailed with how it's structured and how things go. So I feel like I took that structure and that detail and just took it with me.
You brought it up earlier, the player committee, which has existed to some degree through Ken Sparks, through Mike Turner, and now through Mike Clowney. And you brought up the training with the SEALs. What's that top moment for you among that group that you go back on and rely on day to day? Or is it you're stuck in Virginia Beach for a little bit and you're having to lift logs and there's just something about that shared experience?
If I can take one thing that we all took from going to the Navy SEAL base, I think it's a mentality. Like, because all of those guys are get it done. No matter what, I'm getting it done. So I feel like working out with them and running obstacle courses and, you know, jumping over walls, and they give you a chance to go in there and actually do the test where you can you swing off a pole from a tall diving board. You can swing up and jump onto like some nets and climb up to the ceiling. Like, it was so challenging, but hearing those guys, it's almost like no matter what it is, we're going to get it done. So it was a mentality I feel like that we took from there, because the workouts were tough. Like, it wasn't just the workouts literally were tough. I remember finishing a workout one time up there, and we did medicine ball tosses. We did power cleans. We ran, I want to say, a mile. We were working, and all of this is a circuit. So you're never stopping, you know. And I remember us being in the sand, and I remember finishing, and my head was just spinning. I was like, man, I'm legit dizzy right now. Like, that was tough. Like, barely finishing. Like, and, you know, I remember looking around at Kevin Day and Brandon Hayward, and we all like, man, like, this is harder than football, like, for sure. But I think what we all took from it was like, we can do it because we finished. You know what I'm saying? And that was the mentality I think we took from it. No matter what, we can get it done. And I feel like, you know, going out there helped me to just see a different side of, you know, something different. I've never been around Navy SEALs. I've never been around, you know, a bunch of military stuff. And it just opens your eyes, man. Like, those guys are legit. Like, I see why it's only, 3,000 of them in the world or something like that?
Not many. Fraction of a percent, yeah.
Right, not many.
Some of the names that you dropped there, Kevin Day, Brandon Haywood, you mentioned him earlier, Brandon Baker, I'll throw out Andy Hibbett. A lot of guys from those player committees in that era move on to coaching in some degree. Did you get the sense from your peers that you and others would be destined and bound to be involved in educating others on football?
Brandon Hayward for sure. Kevin Day for sure. Me, I honestly thought I wouldn't coach. I remember Redding and Clowney and Hustle, they would all be like, you're going to be a coach. Because I would always be in the meeting room, you know, watching extra film, you know, extra ice tub, just anything I could do to try to stay healthy and try to stay ahead of the curve. And I always used to tell them, like, I don't know, man. I don't want to force it, but I never really saw myself as a coach. Like, I love playing the game, but coaching the game, it's different. So I didn't know for me, but for Kevin Day, for sure, I knew Kevin would be a coach. I could just tell. Brandon Hayward was a great leader, and he was very detailed in explaining and making you see the big picture, because he was one of the ones that gave us a lot of the pregame speeches. So I easily could tell he was going to be a coach. But I don't know, man. I can't put my finger on it, but I didn't see myself doing this. But I'm not surprised, though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've always, of everything I've done, I've always been a leader. I've always been the one that I didn't mind getting my hands dirty. Like, I'll lead by example. I'll sacrifice whatever, just to show people that, this can be done. I've always been that guy. So I'm not really surprised, but I didn't see it coming.
Was it hard to go from, I think there's something to be said about preparing for a game, and then you get the immediate payoff potentially from that preparation on a Saturday. What you do on a Monday, you're likely going to see the fruits of your labor in 5 days' time from the preparation that you do. Was it difficult to go from that to a position now where you're working with a high school kid and you might not see the payoff for that kid until 7-8 years down the road?
Yeah, it's not really difficult because I get to use myself as a testimony, It's one thing if I'm in an industry that I learned everything just from, seminars or whatever the case may be. But I'm literally looking these kids in their face, telling them I didn't start varsity till my senior year in high school, and I went D1. And I only, 11 games? In 11 games, I was defensive back of the year at Cobb County. I was all region. I was all state, and I went D1. So I can tell you it's never too late, because that's the kids' biggest thing. They think they have the offers by 10th grade and 11th grade. And I'm like, listen, you guys are blessed to have a coach that literally had to walk through this path and really have success and made it out. So I paint them the pictures all the time. Sometimes it takes longer than others, but I got the patience. I understand where kids got a big whirlwind. They got a bunch of different things going on in their life. It's easy not to be focused, but I always, every day, pride myself on having high energy and being very detailed and just making it count. Because I tell them all the time, like, you guys are in the best. You guys are literally in the driver's seat of your life right now. This is the best time of your life, transitioning from high school to college, because the ball is in your court. If you want to be successful, if you want to win, if you want to, wherever it's set out to be, you can go get it. So I always try to make sure that I let them know that even the ones that it may not get through to them, I'm going to keep beating it in their head until it does. So, that's one thing I've learned. Some kids are not going to get it the first, the second, or the third time. You got to keep pushing them. And, a year or two from now, they start blossoming, and now they take the torch and they understand it now. Now they're mature enough to handle it. So,
do you get the sense that background, though, a late bloomer in high school, let's call it, you go D1, transfer to a D2, sit out a year, all those experiences and the success that you had, how much of an immediate impact does that have when you're educating somebody new?
I think it has as big as impact as it can possibly have. And then on top of my story, I'm still active. So it's like, if coach is still in shape and he's telling me all this stuff, I have to trust it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I turn 31 next month, and I'm competing with elite guys every day. So if they don't trust me, I don't know what to tell them, because I'm living it. Like, I take pride in doing it. I don't feel great every day because I'm working 2-3 workouts a day, but I always make sure that I just put emphasis on just making it count, man.
Who's the tougher cover, an elite wide receiver or your baby girl? Yeah.
Hey, she's tough. Yeah. I'd probably go elite wide receiver.
I don't know. I mean, some of those early days we were chasing around a baby without a diaper on, and you got to get the diaper on quick. That's that's hard, OD. That's tough.
Definitely, man. I'm definitely. I know her lifestyle, or the lifestyle that we live every day, is definitely rubbing off on her, because she started training herself now. Like, she's only 5. She turns 6 in September, and she's literally, no lie, every single day when we're out there, she runs sprints. The guys that have kids, they bring their kids. She's training them. So it's almost like literally a mini-me, the track version. She's training them for track. So she's teaching them, keep pushing. I hear her talking. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, they're over there doing push-ups. She's teaching them how to do push-ups, and it's like she's just a natural leader, and it's crazy to see it so young. But I think she's gonna be something special for sure.
You mentioned track. Is that the hopeful sport for her, or would you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't put her in anything. I'm about to start letting her, get into stuff. But she tells me all the time she wants to run track and she wants to play soccer. So it seems like she's got her mind made up.
I mean, speed kills in soccer, OD. Speed absolutely kills in soccer.
Definitely.
What's the one thing about family that you took away from Carson Newman?
Always kind of been a family-oriented guy, but Carson Newman and that family vibe, it just made me, I feel like, take it even further, take it another notch up and really taking it to heart. And I feel like, that's why I got my family out there with me literally every day. When I travel, my family's with me. When I'm out there working, my family's with me. Like, we're literally always together. And that's just, I feel at home when they're with me, so I love that feeling of being able to get my work done and look to my right and left, and my kids are running around. My wife is right there. It's the best feeling ever for me, man. And I know that togetherness, that family vibe that I was with for those 3-4 years at Carson Newman, I know it stuck with me because it just rolled off too easily. When I left, I just kept everything that I had, from there. And I keep in touch with the guys. Like I'm in a group chat with Brandon Baker, Trayshawn Ward, Christian McFall, who else is in the group chat? Nate Inman. Is Nate's last name?
Inman, yeah.
Inman. So I still talk to these guys like every day. Like literally every day somebody might send a goofy video from Instagram in there and we laugh or whatever the case may be. So yeah, man.
That's a great note to end on, OD. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us here on the podcast, and wonderful to see you transition into educating others with Sweet Feet Sports Performance.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, truly appreciate you for having me, and I plan on making a trip to Mossy Creek this fall, man, so I'm sure I'll see you there.
Booth's open. Come on up, man. Come on up. That is two-time All-SAC cornerback Oliver Davis. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been another Mossy Creek Conversation. Thanks for joining us.